In recent years, BP has become known for creating environmental catastrophes involving oil spills and mercury dumping. The oil spills have a devastating effect on the environment and the animals that live in it. It's the reason that BP has been receiving so much hate. People are making a mockery of their name. Nevertheless, it's time that we stand up for our environment and put a stop to BP's carelessness. For the past several years, BP has been dumping mercury into Lake Michigan. It's a big problem, because mercury is very harmful to humans. Indiana justified the exemption because the refinery expansion would provide important social or economic benefits. In this case, the project would provide a few thousand temporary construction jobs and 30 permanent jobs. According to the Toxic Release Inventory, the BP plant reported releasing 3 pounds of mercury through surface discharges each year from 2002 to 2005. A Chicago Tribune investigation documented that Indiana allowed the massive BP refinery in Whiting to increase the amount of pollutants it released into the water. According to an article found in the Chicago Tribune, BP dumps nearly 20 times more toxic mercury into Lake Michigan than federal regulations permit. The federal regulations only permit 1.3 parts per trillion, whereas BP is dumping 23.1 parts per trillion. The Indiana state government recently extended a deal with BP that allows it to continue to dump toxic waste into Lake Michigan. According to Michael Hawthorne from EarthHopeNetwork.net, federal records analyzed by the Tribune show BP puts 2 pounds of mercury into the lake every year from its sprawling plant 3 miles southeast of Chicago in Whiting, Indiana. That amount is small compared with the mercury that falls into the water from air pollution, but mercury builds up in the environment and is so toxic that even tiny drops can threaten fish and people. According to DC Bureau, in 2007, Indiana gave BP permission to increase discharges of toxic pollution into Lake Michigan as part of a $3.8 billion expansion of its refinery in Whiting, Indiana. The 2007 deal exempted BP from federal water pollution limits for 5 years. Under the agreement, BP was required to conduct research into technology that would reduce mercury pollution it discharged into Lake Michigan. However, in 2011, as the original 5-year exemption near expired, Indiana regulators extended it because BP argued it would not be able to implement pollution control technology in time. Despite these assurances, pilot tests of new technologies found that mercury could be reduced to below federal limits. Yet BP asserts the $21 to $147 million price tag was too high, even though it expects to haul in an additional $1 billion in annual cash flow from the facility. Mercury has a devastating effect on humans. Even a small amount of mercury is toxic and can be damaging to the brain and nervous system, especially in infants and young children. Imagine swimming in Lake Michigan, enjoying a nice sunny day, and without knowing, you, your friends, and your family are all being poisoned by toxic mercury. According to kirk.senate.gov, Lake Michigan swimmers were evacuated from Porter Beach and Indiana Dunes State Park Beach after authorities noticed people leaving the water with a metallic silvery substance on their bodies. The worst part about BP dumping mercury into the lake is that the fish are ingesting it, and we end up consuming those fish. All of the states that surround the Great Lakes are advising people to limit certain types of fish they consume because of high levels of mercury. Consuming even small amounts of mercury can be deadly. BP is slowly poisoning us and our loved ones, and it's time for us to be heard and put an end to this injustice. BP has no right to be polluting our lakes with mercury or any other deadly substances. It's time that we stand up against the big gas companies and tell them enough is enough. This is our home, and we don't want it being poisoned.
Else's gills, you're killing my ecosystem with fishing and oil spills.
Oh no.
Thank you, BP. Thank you, BP. Thank you, BP. Thank you, BP.